Hey y'all, hi, hello. So I am going on a no-buy for the entire month of July, and in this video I'm going to tell you why I've decided to impose an official no-buy on myself for this month, and then I'm going to talk about what my rules are going to be exactly, if there are any exceptions, and if so, what will those exceptions be. And then at the end I'll talk a little bit about no-buys in general, the difference between this no-buy and my original no-buy year, and what it's going to mean for me this time. If this is your first time to my channel, then welcome. My name is Hannah, and I'm so glad you're here. This is primarily a beauty channel with content about makeup, skincare, and style. I launched this channel in 2018 with an entire no-buy year, and since then I've been winding my way towards a life of thoughtful consumerism, trying to buy fewer, nicer things and foster a healthy love of beauty. I publish about 3 videos a week here on my channel and a couple of extra patron-exclusive videos every month over on my Patreon account. If this is your first time here and you're not subscribed, or if it's not your first time here and you're not subscribed, I must say I do hope that you will subscribe today. Now, let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. So I did a whole no-buy year in 2018, rewired my brain, and gave myself a blank slate on which to forge a new relationship with shopping. I did a couple of years of budgeting after that, and eventually found myself evolving into someone who is infinitely more capable of moderation than I ever was in the past. Over the past 2 years, I've been delighted to find myself naturally moderating my spending and my shopping behaviors, and overall, I'm way better than I ever dreamed that I would be. So, why do I need no-buy July? Simply put, I need a reset on my behavioral patterns. Over the past couple of months, I've spent a lot more time in acquisitional mode than I have at any time over the past several years. And this is in large part because we just moved across the country. We're getting settled in a new space. In many parts of this house, Joe and I are just making do with what we already have. And there are a lot of pieces of furniture that I would like for us to have, but that are definitely out of the question for right now. But there are a couple of key pieces of furniture that are key and that we didn't have. So since we've gotten here, we bought a bed frame, we bought a small couch, a rug for our bedroom, and a couple of other pieces. We're pretty much done for now getting the essentials that we need for life in this space, but it's all been very exciting in general, and it's kind of stirred me up. And over the past couple of months, I have made some significant purchases of things that sit kind of at that junction between the practical and the beautiful. I've methodically replaced several pairs of shoes. I also bought a practical summer bag. It's practical, but also, in my opinion, very beautiful. I bought an expensive pair of pants from Doen, also very practical for me, also very beautiful, and a few more things along similar lines. All things that I felt really filled holes in my wardrobe. All things that I've been loving and using avidly since they arrived. All good choices. I know that I can't keep buying myself shoes and Doen pants for the rest of the year, and Joe and I cannot keep buying pieces of furniture indefinitely. However, my reason for going on a no-buy for the month of July is actually not financial. It's behavioral. This kind of transitional phase spending has actually been good in a lot of ways. I've really made myself more functional. I'm happy with the items that I chose, but it's gotten me treading those pathways, those old pathways of searching and wanting and discerning and decision-making and planning to make purchases in kind of an intense way. And here's the thing. I was already, as we kind of moved through June, dwelling in shopping mode too much for comfort, I think, and I was starting to worry that it was going to be difficult to disentangle myself from that mode already. And then last week, this despicable Supreme Court started, unraveling human rights that have been in place in this country for 50 years. And it's been, for me, a really dark week. And I have gone deep into that shopping mode, into that shopping space as a coping mechanism, right? I've watched myself doing it. I feel like I was halfway in because of the move and the circumstances of my life. And if it had just been that, I could have moderated my way out of it without a no-buy. Then this past week just pushed me all the way in. I've been doing a lot of wish listing, a lot of wish list and wait, a lot of pretend shopping where I put a bunch of things into a cart and then X out the window, spending hours and hours scrolling and searching, staying up super late with my laptop in bed, browsing clothing websites, kind of looking for Instagram ads that trigger me to click through and then browse the websites that those ads were advertising, kind of randomly stopping work in the middle of the day from time to time because I just thought of something I wanted to search for, searching the internet for outdoor furniture, designer bags on consignment, even though I just bought a summer bag, throw pillows. And it's not because I am about to buy any of these things or I'm like comparison shopping because I think I'm going to buy any of those things. I've just been doing it because shopping is such a reliable way for me to erase my brain. And the inside of my brain has been a miserable place to be for the last week. But two things are true. Number one, even in my post-no-buy year reality of being much stronger and much better at resisting the desire to buy things, this kind of behavior does eventually lead to buying something most of the time. Not as badly as it used to, not on the scale that it used to be, and not uncontrollable, but to some degree. And I can feel myself starting to want to buy throw pillows and designer bags, even though they're outside of the boundaries of what it would make sense for me to invest in or to decide to buy right now. And two, and this is probably the most important thing, especially for me this time around, even though a little bit of behavioral self-soothing is definitely okay with me from time to time, erasing my brain with shopping is not a long-term solution to my misery. I know what the long-term solution is, right? The long-term solution is to converse with myself, to dwell in the spirit and heal the spirit, to go through it. Right? It's like you can't go over it, can't go under it, can't go around it, have to go through it. And I do have the tools to do that. Not only do I know what I need to do, I have the tools to do what I need to do. Meditation, writing, poetry, my best work in the world, the inner work that I'm doing with my amazing mentor, Julia Frodal. Reading of any kind is so nourishing. Making art, connecting with friends. And over the past few weeks, I haven't had time to do any of those things because I have been spending all of my time online looking at stuff that's for sale. So, red alert. Red alert, dropped my dolly in the dirt. I know myself and I'm owning up to the fact that I have got to put all of the brakes on at once. And for me, that means a cold turkey project. Also, it's almost July and no buy July rhymes. So we're doing it. Let's talk about rules. I've written them down. My basic rules are kind of what they were for my no-buy year, right? I'm not allowed to buy makeup, skincare, clothing, homewares, accessories, all the things, the beautiful things for myself with my money from July 1st to July 31st. In theory, replacements for staple self-care like skincare and hair care items would be allowed, but I'm hoping that I won't have to replace anything, won't have to think about it. It's just a month. And as far as I can tell, when it comes to like basic skincare and self-care and the things without which I'll dry up like a shriveled old leaf, I have everything that I need to get through the month. Let's talk about the exceptions. And I feel like if you've been around, you know this already, but this is really important. When you build a project like this, you're building the one that's going to work for you. And the best thing that you can do for yourself is to build rules, including exceptions that make it doable for you, that make it actually realistic for you to follow through. I'm going to allow myself to continue to buy bags of Epsom salt to put in my bath, but I'm just going to get them at the grocery store. I'm not going to go out of my way to get fancy or special bath salts. Definitely not allowed to go to Lush or anything like that. It's just like straight up generic brand Epsom salts from the grocery store. Exception number 2, the Baba sale. So I'm really into this knitwear brand that makes Wear Forever knitwear. I have a few winter sweaters from them, and for months now, I have been basically scheming and planning to acquire a summer garment from Baba for myself and one as a gift for my mother. When I decided to do No by July, I decided to make that purchase before the end of June. But then I found out that Baba is having a summer sale and that it's starting tomorrow on the 1st of July. So I am going to wait and make that purchase tomorrow. I'm not going to be doing any sale-fueled impulse buying. It'll be a premeditated purchase. It's been a long time coming, and it's only being pushed into July because of the sale. Possible exception number 3, although it might not actually come up, is the question of joint homewares. So there is one piece of furniture that Joe and I are still kind of on the hunt for before we officially close the door on getting furniture to set ourselves up in this house. We could easily go through July without getting it. I'm usually the driver behind making those decisions, and I'm not going to be driving that decision in July. But if Joe really gets fed up with us not having this final piece of furniture and he starts doing research and talking about wanting to make a decision, I'll allow it, right? I'll get on board. It will be a joint decision and it'll be something that we purchase jointly. Where I get into trouble with homewares is when I'm like, oh, we could really use new glasses, or we really could use like a little tray here, a new plant there, some fancy napkins, you know? All of that will be off the table in July. And then lastly, I need to address the aspect of this work, of running this channel, that involves acquiring makeup specifically for review. So this YouTube channel as a business has a monthly budget that is for products specifically for review, the tools to make videos, review videos. So that's the general shape of the thing. And I know that to some of you, my exceptions might feel wildly exceptional, right? Like still buying makeup for review, still buying sweaters on the first day of the month. But I want to reiterate that for me, this no buy is very much a psychological and behavioral project. And the psychological trenches and behaviors that I'm targeting are not making premeditated purchases that I've been planning for months, or using the channel's budget to buy makeup for self-sponsored review. It's this whole other set of behaviors that I'm trying to curtail. With this video, when I was kind of sitting down and trying to organize my thoughts, I developed a little hypothesis that a no-buy project can help with 3 things specifically. Any or all of these 3 things. Number 1, a no-buy project of any length can definitely help reduce overall spending in your life and help you to get out of debt or to save money. And for some people, that's like the main reason to do one. But there's another thing that it can do. Number 2, a no-buy project can create like a desert of newness. Turn off the tap of the flood of new things into your life. And for some people, a desert of newness, especially if you've never experienced that, can help you find out what you've been using the novelty of new stuff to distract yourself from. That was definitely true for me during my no-buy year. It was a huge part of my no-buy year. But that's not all. There's a third thing that a no-buy project can do, which is to hit the pause button on habitual behaviors, to suspend shopping-related behaviors, reclaim your time and your energy, and use the time and the energy to put more meaningful habits in place. I think it's pretty clear that for me this time, it's all about number 3. I desperately need a behavioral reset, and I feel like a no-buy is the only way to get it. I'm sure I will save some money because there are going to be things that I would have bought if I wasn't on a no-buy that I won't buy in July, but it's not really my money that I'm feeling desperate to protect right now. It's my mind and my time. Of course, this no-buy is definitely not going to be the desert of newness that the no-buy year was for me. There will probably be a couple of pieces of PR coming in over the course of the month. I'm still going to be reviewing makeup, and the things that I ordered this past week are still coming in the mail, and they'll probably arrive in July. This no-buy isn't going to have the stringency or starkness of my original no-buy year. And it's not going to create the sort of vacuum that it would create if I worked in a different industry and if handling review samples wasn't part of my job. But compared to how I have been behaving really for the past couple months, but especially since last Friday, it is going to represent a massive change for me, a huge shift. I anticipate that the first week will be especially hard because I've been so plugged into online browsing, and I'm just going to unplug myself. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to feel. I am nervous about what I'm getting myself into, especially making it this public and really committing in this absolutely set in stone way. But I think that nervousness is an additional sign that this is something that I really need to do. I will, of course, report back at the end of the month about how it went, and maybe even in the middle of the month, depending on how it goes. I feel like only one question remains, which is, will you join me? I know I'm springing this on you at the final hour, but remember, a no-buy month doesn't have to align with the calendar month. You could give yourself a few days to get centered and then go July 5th to August 5th. Don't let a silly thing like the calendar, a couple of days at the beginning or end, be your excuse for not doing it if you think you probably need to. If you do decide to join me in No Buy July and you want to watch some more content about how to structure a no buy or about my original no buy year and what it did for me, then click through and watch some of the videos about that. I will link them at the top of the description box down below. Thank you so much for watching and for being here. I appreciate you all so much, and I really hope that you're taking extra good care of yourselves so that you can be the most effective versions of yourselves as you do your work in the world.